Hi, everybody. Welcome to Busy Living. I'm so excited, you guys, to share this conversation with you guys because this is going to be amazing. I already know because Kathleen Beerkens is one of my favorite people in the entire universe. She is the founder of A Wellness Revolution, amongst other things. She, like all of us ladies out there in the world, we all have different caps that we can wear, but this is a pretty big deal that she started a wellness revolution. And I can't wait to get into the conversation. But before we do, getting sober is a lifestyle change, and sometimes a little technology can help. Imagine a breathalyzer that works like a habit tracker for sobriety. SoberLink helps you replace bad habits with healthy ones, weighing less than a pound and as compact as a sunglass case. SoberLink devices have built-in facial recognition, tamper detection, and advanced reporting, which is just a fancy way to say it'll keep you honest. On top of that, results are sent instantly to loved ones to help you stay accountable. I've been a recovery coach for a long time, and I can't think of a better tool to help rebuild confidence and trust. Go after your goals. Visit www.soberlink/BLS to sign up and receive $50 off your first device. Isn't that amazing? So you don't have to
Amazing.
question somebody and say, oh, are you drinking or not? You can just be like, oh no, here, they have SoberLink. It's kind of cool.
Wow,
Yeah,
that
it's
is
cool.
beautiful.
I love it. Oh my gosh, Kathleen, I'm so excited. So a wellness revolution, we're going to talk about first the basics. What will
Okay.
you tell us? What is a health and wellness coach?
Okay. So a health and wellness coach well, coaching obviously began in earnest at the late 1990s. And it started with business, right? People were needed business coaches, and this whole like kind of movement of self-development started already in the 60s and 70s and 80s, but now then the coach was established. It started actually before that, right? Because people had coaches for sports. But then it went into business, and then now we have seen a tremendous need on the planet for people are just not very healthy, and they need help. Because I can tell you, as a nurse, when I worked in the hospital, it was terrible. I mean, we let people came every day with cancer, autoimmune, all kinds of illnesses, and they came with major crises because half of them that they didn't know they were ill. Can you imagine? So they just show up, their life is going fine, they think everything's good, and then boom, a diagnosis. And then we had to let them go in the world with this new way, this new thing, a very big burden, and not get the kind of help. They didn't get help after that. And so I saw firsthand that problem. So what's happening is, because the health crisis is so big, and we see it with COVID, right? What happened? Health and wellness coaches have been kind of, born, let's say, to fulfill a need that with behavioral changes, because people, they might want to change their life, they might really want to become healthy and really feel better, but a lot of people are stressed out, burned out, they're barely functioning, they don't have energy when they get up in the morning. It's not how we should be living on earth, actually. So when can you imagine what it would be like if you felt amazing? And so health coaches help people one on one work on behavioral changes one by one that can really make their life change, and for the better.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah, it
amazing.
is amazing, actually.
And what is the difference between a nurse, a doctor, which is functional medicine, and health and wellness coaches?
Okay. Well, a doctor, we have even a doctor's role right now is changing on the planet. I mean, we have this old way of thinking about doctors, right? I get sick, I go to the doctor. So it's kind of interesting, but really we should be our own kind of guru in a way. That doesn't mean you never need a doctor. Of course you do. Sometimes you need surgery, sometimes you need first medical attention in an emergency room, but other than that, as human beings, we should be taking better care of ourselves so that our doctor visits are much less. And what we're finding is that when what we focus on matters. So if we focus on illness, oh, I just go to the doctor and I don't want to be ill, and we worry about that, then we kind of attract that. We can. It's the law of attraction in reality. So what we need to do is focus on what we want to be, which is to feel amazing, to look amazing, to find happiness, because that's very big term and it means different things to different people, but to find the happiness within and to become the best versions of ourselves. And in order to do all of that, we really working with somebody who's really trained in behavioral lifestyle changes is an incredible help. I've done it recently, Busy. I train coaches, but I had a coach because after writing a course for 7 years and writing a book and all the things I've been busy with, I was sitting a lot. And even though I would walk, it was just sitting, a lot of sitting work, which a lot of Americans and a lot of people all over the world are doing. And that's not healthy, actually. So I hired a coach and I lost already 5 kilos. And it was not, I could not have done it without a health coach, honestly. So I think, yeah, I believe in it.
The best, because it's so funny, because they used to say the shoe cobbler didn't have nice shoes. And it's just like, you're a health and wellness coach, but we still need coaches ourselves, correct? I mean,
Yeah,
I still
yeah,
see a coach, as you know, and
yeah,
it's just, it changes life and it gives you a different perspective, right?
totally. So people can really find, they can get support and love through the process. Because I will be honest, during this weight, this whole new, and it's not like a diet, I don't believe in diets, but this whole new way of eating, I had to change. And in the process, I remember a couple low days when I was just, craving a sugar or craving some habits. And I just got so much help from this coach who was a real expert. So it really helped me, really did.
Well, you look
But we
fabulous.
hear it, we hear it all the time. We know this works.
So you mentioned a couple buzzwords and I want to go back to them. You
Yeah.
said stress, and I've read a couple of places that they're saying today that the way that people are stressed could be what's the right word? An example of the stress that we have today would be back in like caveman times, is the stress of having like an animal chasing you, like a bear, like you're running for your life. There's a bear coming, there's a tiger coming, a lion. And today we feel that on a daily basis. And how does that,
But we don't have a lion.
but there is no lion. Exactly.
And
There
guess
is,
what
or
else,
bear.
Busy?
Yeah,
We're not running.
exactly. We're not
So
running.
there's a problem. Oh
And the
my God.
cortisol, right? Isn't it the cortisol that's going on in our bodies and the stress that
So,
goes on?
so what
Tell
it
us.
is that, yeah, it's that we have amygdala in our brain, this part of the brain that's constantly saying, am I safe? Am I not? Am I safe? Am I not? And what happens is adrenaline can be addictive. I mean, how you feel when your body's flooded with the hormone adrenaline is kind of amazing, actually. You feel like, wow, I'm ready to move. I'm ready to, okay. So if we're not feeling good out of natural reasons, let's say we're not healthy, we haven't eaten well, we haven't done enough exercise, we're mentally, emotionally stressed out. Everything starts adding up. Then we lose our job on top of it. Like, everything, this is what usually happens. It's not one thing ever. But let's say the package breaks, you lose the job or you get a divorce suddenly, or you have to move your house because whatever happened to the house. So something like that happens, or you lose somebody, someone dies. I mean, there's all kinds of things that happen to people. And that last stress is what we always say is it breaks, it breaks you, because you go into from then a burnout because you have nothing left. There's no resource. So cortisol, a little cortisol is good because otherwise you'd have a really boring life. But a lot of cortisol and addiction is sort of like a habit where you need the cortisol. You're on 4 cups of coffee a day. You're like to make these, maybe you're working in the banking industry and you're like constantly on, but you're sitting behind the computer.
Mm.
So the cortisol gets flooded in the system, makes your sympathetic system very much overactive, and what we call the parasympathetic go to sleep. And when the parasympathetic is these two need to be in balance. And when they're not in balance, you can't rest and digest. So you can't digest food, you can't digest emotions, you can't digest what's happened to you. You just don't have the space for it. So that's one problem. But the physical problem is over time when we don't manage that, the whole cascade of cortisol in the body just makes a lot of health problems. Like it contributes to diabetes directly because it puts the minute cortisol is flooded in the body, it releases and it says she needs sugar or he needs sugar because he needs to run because he's in danger. And so you get these cravings with the cortisol
Mm.
and you eat more and you constantly graze when we didn't in the old days we didn't need to graze, right? We just ate when we would go hunting or whatever. But now we're like eating all the time. Like, okay, is that normal? No. So it's not normal and it's not good for us to eat all the time like that, to graze all day long because the body needs to digest. So then it also not doesn't get to digest. Can you imagine? So
Mm.
cortisol and stress, the stress story is we need as human beings, we have to understand it. We have to understand when we're feeling like that. And we need to do things every day in our life, every one of us. So if you're listening to this podcast, every one of us has to do certain things, or over time, the stress will get to you. It's just the way it is because we're in an environment of overstimulation, period. You know, the internet, the phone, the amount of the amount that we even ask our kids to do. You know, you have to be the sports person, you have to be this, you have to, I mean, it's not normal, right? It's way too much. So there's a lot of stress on us in the sense that we have to perform, but also the new kids. I think the kids on the planet, it's a really hard time to be there with all these problems, all this chaos. And they probably think, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? If the old banking system is going to be different, what am I going to do? Or if the medical system's changing, what role do I want to play in it? It's exciting on one hand, but it's also kind of nerve wracking. So yeah, stress is a big thing.
Stress is a big thing. And when you were just talking about, because it is a change right now, and for the people that are listening that are into astrology and what's really going on the planet, it is a planet thing. It isn't just like we all aren't going
Oh,
crazy within ourselves, even though everybody, I mean, I just left pickleball and all these ladies are like, oh my gosh, this is going on in my life. This is going on in my life. Oh my gosh, it's so
yeah.
stressful. All these crazy things. Why is that happening?
Well, we're
All
in a
feeling like
very
this.
exciting time. We're in what we call an awakening. It's a spiritual time, actually. And some people might say, oh, that's so weird. That's so out there, but it's not. It's been proven. NASA has shows that there's since 2020 increased solar flares. We've never seen so many. It has an effect on us. It's actually stimulating our DNA. It's waking our DNA up. You know, this junk DNA. It's getting woken up literally. So we are changing very fast now. We are the darkness. Let's say we always lived on a planet of light and dark duality. We are lightening up, so there's much more light, so we can see our darkness, and that's why it's hard for us. Because when we, you know, in the old days when I was young, you couldn't see it. It was all kind of hidden. You knew it was happening, but now it's like in your face, you know. And I think this is part of the awakening, to wake up to what we've been going through. But the important thing is it's an incredible time not only to wake up in ourselves, so you know, think about where you're waking up, but also to ask ourselves, what am I, like, where in my life, what needs attention, what is hurting, what part of me needs to be healed, or have I been ignoring? So I think
Mm.
we're getting to a moment right now where we can't ignore anymore, and especially in unhealthy relationships, because Venus is going retrograde and is retrograde, and when that happens, it's a real reflection of the things that Venus gives us which we love, which are others, which are our significant others, which are, looking good, our clothing, our comfort, our food, everything we do that makes us happy and brings us joy is going to be under review. So some people will be looking at like, wow, is this way I eat, this food I eat, is this really helpful? Is this really healthy? So I think it's a really interesting moment. It's to be alive. It's amazing, actually. There are souls, I'm convinced, that cannot come right now to earth. And so any soul that is here is very fortunate. And I just want to say that we are fortunate to be here on earth right now.
I agree with you so much. And you just talked about something which I love, which is hope. We have so much hope, right? We can have hope, even though it seems like a lot of things are that we are seeing these things that we thought, oh my gosh, they're actually coming to light, these things that are going on with our presidents all over the world. And it's not just in America, it's all over the place. The money, everything, all these things are that like the veils being lifted, and we're seeing these things and it feels uncomfortable, but you're giving us hope, aren't you?
Yeah, because you can't fix and change something you can't see. If you see something, then you have an opportunity to make the change, right? So we are in an incredible moment where, like, if you see that your relationship is not good, let's say, and it's never been good for like 20 years, you've been miserable. Well, you just ignored it, you just lived with it, you didn't do anything about it. Well, now you could say, don't do that. Like, take this moment and say, I want to make this better. I want to actually improve my life. And how can I do that? Well, actually, does a relationship matter to me? Yes, it does. And I want to be able to be in a relationship that where both people are strong, where both people are encouraging the other to be the best version, and where we're still excited to live. If we don't have that, if we've lost that spark, then we need to do something to reignite that, to remember how we once connected and why we connected.
Mm, if that isn't the truth. I was actually just talking about that yesterday because so many people are saying, I've heard it twice. That's influencer I heard yesterday, and then myself, I heard it. People are like, you're so lucky you have that spouse. And I know people say that about you and your husband, like you're so lucky. And we're like, well, wait a minute, he's lucky too, for one, right?
Yes, right.
And
Both are lucky.
but both are lucky, but it takes work, right? It's
Right.
very easy to go, all right, forget it, I'm done, I'm getting bored, whatever.
Yeah,
But it's much harder to say, you know what, where was that thing that made us come together in the beginning and finding that spark again?
exactly. So it's the most important thing to have those conversations this summer and to be willing and daring. And if you aren't courageous enough, then get a health coach because they are a life coach because they can help you with it.
Completely. And you mentioned something else, which was gratitude. What, and putting that into the universe and envisioning your life. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, well, I think that, everything has a frequency, and gratitude is one of the highest frequencies that is out there that we could ever, like, the minute you would, like, right now, everyone who's listening, think of the word joy. Well, you immediately feel happy, right? So think of gratitude. It's even more, it's beautiful. And so
Mm,
when you decide to think that word and to be grateful for the things in your life, whatever it is, even the hardships,
mm.
be grateful for that difficult period you're having because you're going to learn something and your soul's going to grow and it's going to be amazing in the end because you'll triumph. And so think of that. And I think you immediately feel it everywhere in your body.
It's so true. It's so true. So tell us, why did you start a wellness revolution?
Yeah, that's a good question. So there's a lot of stories involved with that. But basically, I've always, after I was a nurse and a teacher, and I was a mother, of course, and I help people heal. I really, it's a long story, but I learned, I just think I was a healer before in another life. That's crazy. But suddenly I was invited by my sister-in-law to go to a lady who knew how to heal with her hands. And for my birthday present. Can you imagine?
Oh,
And yeah, she said, "This is your birthday present." And I'm like, "Oh my God." And I was because I'm a real Western nurse. My family are doctors and PhDs in chemistry and really teachers, but nothing of this alternative world. Okay. So when she said heal with your hands, I was rolling my eye. This is true. But anyway, I go to this thing and it was kind of funny. So we show up there, and even in this lovely nurses, she's a nurse too, presence, I could feel these frequencies. It was not normal. It was something it was something out of this world. And the weird thing is that my friend who brought me couldn't feel them. So I was like, oh, this is a very interesting phenomena. So then I so then I started to tune into this. I have always been very high sensitive and I could always see things and stuff like that. But this was just really something out of a novel. So I started to do this kind of frequency work, and people started healing. And it was really it was just something I couldn't believe, actually. And then it got really crazy at one point, and my husband said, "You got to get out of our bedroom with these healings." And he built me, it was cute. He built me a little like wellness center. So I started doing that, and I had been very busy with nutrition for years. And I started combining that and coaching and really having a practice for many years. And I also taught. But at some point, I made a choice. I said, okay, what is the most important thing in the world right now? And I really went in and I thought, and I said, to get this information to the people. I went in and it was like, yes, because it's not okay what's happening. And people are not given the right information, not even sometimes from their doctors. It's true. So I was in my heart and I thought, okay, and there's nothing wrong with doctors. I'm like I said, my whole family are doctor. I love doctors. They have a really good role, but they are not necessarily oriented this holistic way. So I was literally, I was sitting there one day and I went in, and the word a wellness revolution just came in my mind. And I thought, okay, Kathleen, you're gonna bring this vital information, particularly what you've been researching for 20 years, which are the new sciences. You're going to bring these to the people, and then they can have information to change their life to make it better. And that was it. It was a decision. Boom.
wow. And it's,
Yeah.
and I feel so blessed that I found you and I enrolled. But today you have nurses, you have PhDs, you have actual doctors, MDs taking your course because they want to learn the alternative to this functional thing, don't they? They want to
Yeah,
look
they
at us
really,
more.
yeah, they're burned out. They're in their life and they're thinking, I mean, I've had this career, I have enough money, perhaps that, most doctors do, and I have this, but I'm really not very happy, and I don't feel good either. I don't feel good. I'm stressed out. So they want to find out how they can feel better and heal so that they can help others. And many are coming to coaching because it can also improve your relationships with your family members. When you learn how to coach, it's not that you're going to be coaching your family members, you should never do that, but you become more introspective, more self-reflective. When you are more self-reflective, you can actually get along better with others. It's easier, and when you're less judgmental on yourself,
Mm,
because we really need to love ourselves more. And in order to do that, we need to understand how our body, mind, spirit complex works so we can take care of it. And we shouldn't expect others to take care of it.
mm.
That's the illusion then you create codependency. And so we want to become really independent, but then in a really positive way, right?
Yes.
So
Yes. And it's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing because this light, the people are learning this, and it's not just giving them a pill. And I know you guys in Europe don't get handed out medication like we do in the United States. Like, did
well, they do
Oxycontin?
in France. It depends what country.
Okay.
The Dutch are very sober and very grounded, and they are not so into giving medicines, but they still do. So we have, like, in Holland, you have a really big part of what we call integrative medicine, which I think is the future. And I was trained here. I love the Netherlands. My husband's Dutch, and I really was so lucky to come here that I learned all these new ways. I would never, if I had stayed in America where I was in the hospital and everything, I would never have, I don't think I would have gone this way, or it would have taken longer. So I was just in this situation where I met a kinesiologist, a reflexologist, so many, a cranial osteopath. I met so many people the first year, 2 years of my time in the Netherlands that were helping me heal, my son heal, my daughter heal. It was amazing. So I think you have to try it in order to see how you feel. And many people are trying these treatments now, and they're becoming integrative
Right.
instead of alternative. That's a very bad word.
Right.
Alternative.
I love that integrative. I love that. Because it's a whole mix of things.
Yeah, we shouldn't be just thinking that keeping our body in balance is alternative. Keeping your body in balance is necessary for you to live a very happy, healthy life. But if you're not trained that way, you're not given any direction, and you're just told you wait till you're sick and go to the doctor, that's a whole nother perspective, right? Yeah.
Totally. And it's so interesting to me that you go to the doctor and all they want to do is hand you a medication, at least here. Oh, what's wrong with you? Oh, let me give you this. Oh, let me give you that. And I have this theory that, when we were growing up, I don't remember my mom taking pills at all. I mean, his parents didn't really take medication.
No,
No.
not like today. No.
No. So now kids see it. And I
No.
think I think it's part of the reason why some of the kids are getting addicted, right? Because it's okay. Mommy's does it. Daddy does it. They can't be that bad,
Well,
right?
it's the same with the alcohol busy,
Yeah.
the drug addictions, right? I think it's sometimes you do need a medicine. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Like
Right.
the pharmacy has its, thank God for emergency medicine, and it's life. It can be helpful. It can be amazing. I remember when I hurt my shoulder, I actually needed a medicine. I never take medicine, but that was ridiculous what happened. So sometimes you do, but you have to realize that all medicines, they're medicines because they have a lethal dose, meaning that if you take enough of it, it can kill you. That's what it is, a medicine. So
Right.
if people understand that, then they will say, okay, well, why would I do that first? Maybe I can take that or take it for a while with the idea that I get off of it to do other things so that I don't need to take it for life, this kind of thing. I
Exactly. Exactly. I love that because who wants to take something forever and ever and ever and ever and ever,
No, because
correct?
it will have toxicity in the body. Every drug does. Drugs do that. The liver has to cope with that.
And so tell me this, if someone is looking for a health and wellness coach,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them?
Make sure they're certified with the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaching, or ICF, International Coach Federation. Really, in the future, we will not, people will not hire coaches that don't have certification, because you need to have a very good level of education, a high level, to be able, and it needs to become standardized. So this new profession has been born, but now it needs to be standardized. That's what I believe.
And your school is one of the places that you can go if you want to get certified along the way. Yes.
So if anyone's out there, they wanted to change their career, they want to help people, or they want to just add to their profession. We've even had lawyers take our course. It doesn't matter. If you want to learn about body, mind, and spirit, health and wellness, we really, in our course, we really teach cellular wellness. It's really phenomenal what you learn in this course. And I think it's what my passion is, and why I believe you cannot understand really how to be well if we don't look at all those areas, and if we don't look at ourselves. It's impossible.
And it's hard. And we can sometimes tell the doctor, we can kind of figure out, as you've mentioned many times in this conversation, like we know ourselves intuitively what's going on
Yeah.
anyway, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay. So first we're going to find out when we hire this health and wellness coach, we want to make sure they're certified. And
Want to make sure
what
they
other
will specialize. They will specialize in something. So you want to
okay.
find out what they're specialized in. Some people are very specialized in the GI, like your gut. Some are more specialized in women's health, others are in emotional health, some are more in, reprogramming your subconscious or whatever problem you have. You want to find out if this health and wellness coach is able. And also it's a little bit about their relationship with you. Like, is there a click? You want to have a click and trust this person. This is very important. I learned from I have a teacher, a spiritual teacher, and she taught me it's all about frequency. So you either get a good vibe with somebody, that's frequency, or you don't. And you don't want to hire someone unless you have that. So I would interview them and make sure that's a good match. That's my opinion. But if anyone is interested, we are giving a webinar this Thursday, and to welcome you to get to know our program. And we will do a couple more. And our course starts this time, September 20th.
I'm
for
so
6
excited. I'm going to have all these links in the description today, when the podcast comes out tomorrow. And I just have to say, it has been a joy having you here and letting people hear all, the ways that we can actually heal ourselves, how much gratitude is so important, and how much letting go of the stress, getting out there and exercising and eating properly, and finding a health and wellness coach that's actually certified is huge.
It's huge. And I think the last comment I want to make is we have to let go of all the parts of us that are feeling unworthy. I think what's really hitting humanity right now is that we need to know who we are. We're waking up to the magic and the mysticism of being a human being, and how each soul is just so loved and so important in the story. And so each of you has been created to build, to bring and be creators, to do that. And I think, we are very blessed as human beings to really be here and be able to feel and be able to love. And so, but being worthy, knowing who we are, is everything.
It's the best. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. You're coming on again soon, by the way. She's coming on again. I thank you so much for coming on. Everybody, I'm going to have all of Kathleen's information, her webinar that she's having on Thursday. You can find the link in my description. Go look for it. Go take a gander at A Wellness Revolution. You will not regret doing that. It has been amazing for me. I'm actually sitting for the national board. Oh my God, in November. So it's going to be great.
You're going to do great.
It's going to be amazing.
Thank you. It's my honor, really, to be.
Thank you. Well, you guys reach out to me with any questions at elizabeth@elizabethchance.com. And until next time, keep getting busy, living. Bye-bye, everybody.